Julian, your gut reaction to all this. Trump was thanking the National Guard for a job well done last night before they were even there. Is he more focused on the optics than the reality of this situation unfolding?
Well, of course he is. The other thing that's going on, of course, Alex, is that they're provoking this. As Gabe was saying, they want these images, but it's for all the wrong reasons. It's because they're provoking what are peaceful demonstrators. And we've seen this before. We saw this in Lafayette Square on June 1st, 2020. Folks remember the tear gas being fired, Trump going to that church and holding a Bible up. This is what he likes to do. It's part of his authoritarian impulse. We saw it when he was campaigning in 2015 and 2016, when he promised to pay the legal bills of folks who would rough up protesters at his rallies. That's Donald Trump. And so there's a lot of mistruths, a lot of lies coming out of this administration. And one of the demonstrators are the problem. ICE is the problem right now.
Well, Susan, let's point to the mayor and governor who did not ask for the National Guard. So Trump went over their heads using a rule that's meant for when there is rebellion or danger of rebellion against the U.S. government. Does it seem like a proportional response to what we've been seeing?
It is not, Alex, because the governor the governor would be the one to call in the National Guard. They don't want them there. They know their city. And it is what I rarely agree with Governor Newsom, but Donald Trump is sending those folks there to make a spectacle. This is the visual that Donald Trump wants. And it is, it goes against the wish of a governor from a president who claims he's into states' rights. But more importantly, it creates a tinderbox situation potentially. And that's what we should be more concerned about, just something sparking potential violence.
And here's why this is not new for Los Angeles, Dawn, because L.A. Mayor Karen Bass says, in fact, that mass civil unrest, just like the 1992 Rodney King riots, which I well remember living there, is what happens when there is a large-scale presence of troops. So what is the risk of scaling up the federal response to this level? How do you see it?
The risk is that it will absolutely incite and be an incendiary measure for not only protesters, but for just average people who want to protect citizens. I think this is a seminal and extraordinarily important moment in American civil rights history. We've all acknowledged that this has been done, the National Guard deployed, not only against the wishes, but without the request of the sitting governor. The last time that the National Guard was deployed to the state in military fashion without the request of the governor was in 1965, when LBJ sent the National Guard to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to forcibly integrate Vivian Malone into the University of Alabama. The last time this extraordinary measure was used was to enforce civil rights. President Trump is using it to trample upon civil rights. And it is a stark juxtaposition, and we should never forget the scope of history and where this fits precisely in it.
Julian, our colleague Jacob Soboroff spoke exclusively with the border czar Tom Homan about what he says are necessary arrests of protesters. Take a listen.
Anybody has a right to protest. They got the First Amendment rights. But when you impede a federal law enforcement officer, that's a crime. When you put hands on them, of course, that's a crime. When you prevent them from doing their job, that's a crime. So, I've said since January 20th, you can protest all you want. When you cross that line, we're going to be seeking prosecution.
Okay, let's remind our viewers that this administration pardoned more than 1,500 people convicted in the January 6th attack who were trying to impede the peaceful transfer of power, including many who attacked police officers. Is it credible when this administration says the focus of moves like this we're seeing in Southern California is to protect law enforcement?
No, it's not. I mean, they've shown, this administration and Donald Trump especially has shown that they really don't care about protecting law enforcement. He showed that by pardoning all those January 6th rioters who violated many laws and, of course, beat up and hurt law enforcement. On top of that, Alex, they have no credibility in general with regard to these enforcement actions. Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later video shows people were not aggressive. They've done that over and over. They've lost all credibility.
Can I ask you, Don and Susan, to react to the same question relative to, comparing to what we've seen from this administration regarding January 6th and the pardoning of 1,500 protesters there? Don, you first, then Susan.
No, there's no credibility here. And I think that the administration is just hoping that they're not called out. That's why it's extraordinarily important that we remind folks that there actually was an insurrection, and this was not that. This is a direct response to Stephen Miller's heinous deportation order of 3,000 people per day. There are not 3,000 violent criminals to be grabbed every day. What you're going to have to do is go into and grab normal, everyday folks who are working hard to contribute to this country. And there's no logical parallel between what we're seeing ICE do here versus what we saw on January 6th. None whatsoever.
Final word to you, Susan.
And it's no surprise that Donald Trump wants ICE to be more aggressive in doing that. There was a junior in high school in New York City arrested for checking in, which he is legally required to do. Mm-hmm. And at the courthouse, he was arrested and sent to Pennsylvania. Those are the stories that start getting out there that will have a backlash against Trump because he always takes it a step too far.